Being updated with the latest features is a must in any industry. Hello, I'm Khyati and I welcome you to Grey Edge. Revit is a widely recognized industry standard computer application for architectural and building design professionals. In this video, we are looking into many new features that have been introduced in Revit 2019. The focus will be on streamlined user interface, levels in 3D, tabbed views and docking preview, scope box, uncropped perspective views, split railings, improved filter rules, double fill pattern. So let's start with the very first feature, that is streamlined user interface. Starting with the file menu, we could see that in the previous versions the file menu was a bit longer. As we'll just go to the file menu, this is the current file menu. As we can compare that the earlier file menu was a bit longer. Submenus in the file menu included some commands which are no more relevant and are removed. For example, if we just go to the export tab here, there were some options like building site, which is now removed. Also, below print option, there were some commands like publish and suit workflows, which are now removed in the latest version of Revit 2019. Now, relevant to much more day-to-day projects, there are some very good interface changes that have been introduced in Revit 2019. Let's start with the project browser that we have on the left-hand side. We always keep a habit of organizing our project browser into branches and sub-branches, which can be expanded or collapsed using the icons given here. So we can just click on this minus icon to collapse all the sub-branches, and click on this icon again, that is the plus icon, to again expand it. But we had to do this individually for each branch and sub-branch. But now in the latest version, we can just right click on any option here and click on expand all to expand all the branches and sub-branches given in the project browser. Again, to collapse them quickly, you can just right click and say collapse all, which will collapse all the branches and sub-branches which are by default or have been created by us. Next, we go to the renaming of these views. As we know that when we create the levels are created by the default names. So to rename these views, earlier we used to select the view, right click and click on rename given over here. Or we used to use a shortcut key, that is F2. But now to rename any view, it's very simple. You can just select the view here, wait for a while and again click on the view name, where we can just rename our view. As I'm just going to rename it as, say, first level. Again I repeat, to rename any view, you can just click on the view, wait for a while, again click on the view and rename it as needed. Moving on further to the next new feature, that is levels in 3D. We know how important the levels are. Now we start with some very key enhancement given to the level functionality. As we can see over here, that if I'm just starting with a new project in Revit 2019 with a particular template, and if I just move on to the 3D view in this particular new project, we see that the levels are seen by default. That is, if we start any new project in Revit 2019, the levels are visible in the 3D view by default. Again, we can just select on the level and rename the views itself in the 3D view. But if we move on to any existing project of the earlier versions, that is, I'm just going to this particular project which was created in the earlier version, but I have opened it in Revit 2019. And if I'm just going to the 3D view, we see that the levels are not visible by default. To make the levels visible, we just have to move on to View tab, Graphics panel, Visibility Graphics, go to the Annotation categories, Levels, and click on the levels to make them visible in the 3D view. So that's how it's interesting that we can see the levels in the 3D view. Again, when we just select any particular level and try to delete this particular level, we see a warning message given over here. This warning message had been seen in the previous versions also, but now we see a graphical representation showing that which elements are going to affect using this particular level. So if we delete this particular level, all the elements seen in the orange color are going to get affected. So if we click on OK, these elements will get deleted. If we say cancel, these elements will be intact. Moving on to the next new feature that has been introduced in Revit 2019 is tabbed views. As soon as we open a Revit project or any project in Revit 2019, we see that this bar over here below the option bar is active here, which has a series of tabs collected for every open view and every open project. So we don't have to search our project or our view using the Control Tab key as we used to do earlier. Now we can just click on any view or any project on the tabbed views given here, and we can just switch on to any view or any project. We can also see these views over here in this quick access toolbar in the switch windows option. We can click on this and we can just move on to any other view or any other project from this particular option. Now, if we want to close these views which are collected here in a series, we can just click on this option that is called Close Inactive Windows in the quick access toolbar. So all the projects and views which are gathered over here in this particular tab get removed. This option was further earlier called as Close Hidden Windows, which is now renamed as Close Inactive Windows. Moving on next to the new feature known as Scope Box. Revit 2019 gives a simple enhancement functionality when it comes to Scope Box. Now let me give you a brief about the Scope Box. Scope Box is an option which can be used to control the cropping region of a plan view or control the datum elements, that is the levels and the grids, as per the previous versions. But now we can control the 3D elements using a Scope Box. So let's start. I'll just give you an example. I'll go to View tab, Create Panel, Scope Box, and create a Scope Box around this area. I'll just select the Scope Box and give a name to it as, say, Staircase Area. I'll just move on to the 3D view. We can see the Scope Box created by us. I'll just select it and check it. Yeah, this is the same Scope Box given here. Now I shall just select it and click on this option that is Selection Box. When I just click on this selection box, we can see that there is a crop region created around the Scope Box created by us. So it's very easy for us to create a crop region using the Scope Box. Earlier we used to click on the selection box or say a section box given over here in the properties, and we used to select the section box and arrange the cropping region, control the cropping region manually. But now it's very easy. We can just create a Scope Box, select the Scope Box and click on Selection Box, which will automatically control the cropping region, which was earlier done only in the plan view, but now it's done in the 3D view also. Moving on further to the new next feature, that is Uncropped Perspective View. There are some exciting new features regarding the perspective view. We have just placed two cameras and we can see these two 3D views created using the camera view. I'll just go to the first camera view given here. Now, the very first thing that we can see is I can simply go to the Properties panel here and change my projection mode given over here from perspective to orthographic, and again from orthographic to perspective easily using this option known as the projection mode. Further, now if I want to pan this particular view or orbit the view, the picture frame is panned or the picture frame is orbited and not our 3D or camera view given here. So to pan or orbit it, we can just press Shift W and we can have this quick navigation wheel which is used to pan our view or orbit our view as needed. But when we pan this, we have this particular crop region that automatically comes in the camera view by default. So we can just click over here, that is do not crop view, and you can see the cropping region is removed, but we are still in the camera view. So if we just say show crop region here, we can see that how much part is going to cover by the camera, but we can easily pan or orbit the view using the pan option given here. Again, when we are satisfied that I want this much region to come into the camera view, I can just place this into my sheet. Now I'll just go to a new sheet here and try to place this particular 3D view 1 into the sheet, but it says that sheet does not support uncropped perspective views. So we'll go back to our 3D view 1. Once we are satisfied with the view, we'll again click on crop view so that Revit can understand what part it has to put into the sheet. So I'll go back again to my sheet, and again if I try to place my 3D view, it is easily placing it into my sheet. So Revit 2019 has given a very good feature that we can adjust or we can pan or orbit our camera view by keeping our region active, that is by keeping our region uncropped and easily panning or orbiting the camera view in Revit 2019. Moving on next to the new feature named as split railings. In Revit 2019, the split tool now works on railings too. This is a simple but very useful enhancement. The split tool, which could be previously used only on walls, can be now used on the railings too. Now let us see how it works. We'll just go to the 3D view given here. We shall just come here on this railing. If we need to split this railing, we used to previously select the railing, go to edit path, just split this part using the split tool given here. I shall just split here and here. Again, I shall just select this region and delete it. Now if we try to finish it, it gives us a warning that it cannot be finished because it's not a single sketch. So I'll just cancel this so that this does not work. Now in 2019, we can just directly go to the split element tool, which we used to use for splitting our walls. So I'll just go to this particular split element tool, click on delete inner segment in the option bar given here, click over here on the railing directly. Again I'll click on this option and you can see that the railing is automatically splitted and the inner segment is removed. So it makes very easy for us to split any part of the railing on our floors or on the staircases without making separate railings. Moving on to the next new feature, that is improved filter rules. Filter is a tool that allows us to customize the graphics of the objects within a particular view using the rules laid. So let's go to the filter. I shall just go to the View tab, Graphics panel, Filters. I shall just click on a new filter and name the filter here as, say, Walls -150 mm. A new filter is created here. Now let's select the category to which it has to be applied, that is the walls here. In the previous versions, under the filter rules, we did not have this option, that is the and or rules. But now we are having this option, that is and rule and the or rule, which can be customized. So let's start here with the filter rules. I'll just keep the filter rule as or. Under the properties, I'll just select the property as width equals 150 mm. I'll add one more rule where I'll select the property as function equals exterior. I'll just click on OK. So a filter is created. To apply this filter, we'll just go to Visibility Graphics, Filters tab. I'll click on Add, select the filter created by us. I'll go to the Cut option under Lines and override the color here as, say, magenta. I'll click on OK, and we can see that all the walls here are colored in magenta. We had given two rules, that is the width as 150 and function as exterior. Now let's check. I'll just select this particular wall, go to Edit Type and check. See, the width is 150 and the function is exterior. That means both the rules are applied here. I'll just select this particular wall, go to Edit Type, check here. Yes, this also is function is exterior and the width is 150. Now let's check this particular wall. I'll go to Edit Type and check here. You can see that the function is interior and the width is 150. That means both the rules are not applied here, but then too it's colored in magenta. That means when we give a rule as or, even if one property is matching, your color is changing, that is the graphics is changing here. Now let's go again back to filters. I'll go to my filter created and change the filter rule as and I'll click on OK. Now we can see that this particular wall, which was previously colored in magenta color, is now not colored because the function is interior. That means when we give a rule as and, both the rules, both the properties should match to the object to change its graphics. These walls which are covered in magenta color have the function exterior as well as are of 150 mm, so they have changed their graphics. Moving on to the next new feature, that is double fill pattern. Moving on to the next new feature, that is the double fill pattern. The next feature that I'm going to discuss is that how to use the double fill patterns while creating a material or a surface texture. Let's go to the 3D view here. I want to give a pattern to this particular terrace floor. So I'll just select this particular floor here. I'll just go to Edit Type, Edit Structure, Material. There's a default material given here, so I'll just create a duplicate for the same and name it. Further, I'll just go to Graphics, and over here you can see that we have two options, that is the foreground as well as the background pattern for surface and the cut pattern both, which was previously not available. Previously we could give only one pattern for each surface as well as cut. Now I shall give a background pattern. I'll just click on this particular option, solid fill, change the color, now I shall just go to the foreground pattern, model, and select a particular pattern given over here. Further, I shall just click on OK. And come out of the option. You can see that I've not given any material, but using both the background as well as the foreground pattern, we can have a very good material created here. The same thing we are going to do for this particular wall. I'll select the wall, again repeat the same procedure, go to edit structure and change this default material, create a duplicate, name it, just go to graphics. I shall just give again a background material as solid fill, give a color to it, say maybe a beige color. Further, I shall just go to the foreground pattern and apply a foreground pattern to the same. I shall just select this particular pattern, apply it, and now we can see a very good background and foreground pattern is applied to the walls too. That means we can give a very good background fill color or any other pattern as needed, and a very good foreground pattern to the same to give a very good combination. As you can see here, this can be also used for fill regions and materials too. So we conclude here. That's all for our new features. That was all about the new features in Revit Arc 2019, and I would like to thank you for listening to me. Hope you find this content very informative and explore such informative content. Please stay tuned and check out all the upcoming content. With that, I would like to thank you for listening to me and have a nice day.